Welcome into your primetime preview. Last call here on WagerTalk. I'm Jo Madden. You can follow me on all social media at Jo Madden Sports. Follow WagerTalk on all social media as well. You guys, we've got a great show for you today. Of course, we're talking Monday Night Football. We're wrapping up week 12 here with the Carolina Panthers taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Now, opening lines on this one, that total was 45.5, and we're seeing 49s on the majority of the books. We do have a couple of 48.5s out there, and we're seeing that spread from a 6 at opening for the 49ers up to a 7.5 on some of the books. If you're laying the 7.5 with the Niners at Sports 411, you are getting that at plus 100. If you're just grabbing a 7, Hard Rock has that at minus 115. So definitely open your odds logic page, shop those lines depending on what you like. Now, loaded show today. Carmine Bianco coming in first, and then Andrew McInnis. They've got lots to go over with you guys. So in the live chat here on WagerTalk, make sure you do drop your questions, drop your comments for these guys. Let us know how you did yesterday in Sunday football, what games you were just blown away by. I tell you, that game with the Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm so frustrated the Colts weren't able to get it done, but what a great game going into OT. But you just knew when Mahomes had that ball in his hands that nothing was done until it was finally done. And of course, KC walked away with the win, but the Giants pushed the Lions. It was some phenomenal games. So let us know what you guys thought of week 12 so far, what you think going into this one. If you have some touchdown props that you like, anything you're liking out there, we want to hear it. And then of course, get those questions in for Carmine and Andrew. So let's bring Carmine in, you guys, and let's start breaking down this game.
Hello, Joe. Glad to be here. And it's great to see all of the usual names in the chat. Lisa, J-Dog, Bill Sandoval, they're all there. J-Dog's always here on these last calls. So hello to him and best of luck to him. Crazy weekend.
It was. What was the craziest game in your opinion? Right? Like, I couldn't believe some of those games.
I hated them all. I'm going to say that. Listen. There's so many people, and you see it on Twitter. Thank God the people at WagerTalk don't do this, but you see it on Twitter. Everyone is like, "Yeah, I win 5-0, 6-0," and they never talk about like their losses. It was like my second. I told you, but just before the show, my second losing Sunday of the NFL season. So I'm proud it was only the second one, but I'm pretty pissed off that it happened on Sunday. Some half points killed. Obviously, it killed me along the way. The KC one you talked about, they win by 3, not 3.5. It is crazy, but we're right back at it on Monday, and you're going to be surprised with some of the stuff I have for you today, because I want to talk not only tonight's game, but I'm going to talk how to take tonight's game and turn it into some money with a couple of other games that are coming up for this following week.
Okay, well, I can't wait to hear that, you guys. So make sure you stay around here because that's the best teaser I've heard, Carm. Now, Carm, you've been absolutely crushing it out there. I want to hear what you've got going on before we get into everything that you have. What have you got going on at WagerTalk for the people?
Yeah. NHL, but the NHL package is, I think it's gone off. I think there was a 7:00 game in it, but I am going to have at 8:00. They go live. I'll have plays as part of Tuesday's $5 customer appreciation day. There'll be one college one, crushed 4% best bets on Saturday in college football. The only ones I had. There'll be one Champions League because there is soccer on Tuesday and Wednesday. Some big games from Europe, and of course one NFL one as well too. With Tuesday being pretty much a dead day in the NHL, only Dallas and Edmonton. I likely won't have a play on that one. But if the lines come out for Wednesday, I will put up a $5 play for that one as well too. So you get a variety of games that you guys can take. And at the end of the segment, I've got a great promo as well too that I want to discuss. But with that said, Joel, let's get to this game. You mentioned the look ahead here was 6.5 and 45. It's now 7.5 and 49.5. So I want to talk about, before we actually talk about the game in itself, I want to talk about teasers because so many people get teasers wrong. And this is one of the things that for the last 3 years at WagerTalk that I've been putting out teasers, and number 2 at WagerTalk with teasers the last 3 seasons since the 2022 season when I first started putting them out. Up 44.5 units, 67.4%, 31, 15, and 1, which is 23.9 ROI. The important thing when playing teasers, guys, is don't just pick a game. Look at like Wong teasers. So Wong teasers and Wong teaser strategy is very important. I'm going to go over 4 things you should focus on, guys, when you're looking at Wong teasers, and then I'm going to give you 2 teasers that I've already played, and you can follow along if you want. Number 1, focus on NFL sides. Don't use teasers for totals. That is a total. It's a bad way to lose your money. Number 2, target crossing both key numbers. We know the key numbers are 7. We know the key numbers are 3. So you're looking at spreads that are normally in that 7.5 to 8.5 range, or if you're taking a 6-point teaser, you're crossing over both numbers. The third thing, don't cross over 0. It's a dead number because of ties. Since 1995, there's been 7,992 games, not including this season, and only 18 have ended up in ties. Do not cross over a 0. There's been 1 game this year that ended in a tie. That was the Green Bay Dallas one. And then look for games with low totals. Normally, games with low totals, the teased numbers that you have offer more value. It's very important. And then the final one is have multiple outs. You need to shop for the best price. And sometimes some books will have a better teaser number for you, not just the spread, but the actual VIG that you're paying. So I think that's very important when looking at that. And I'll give you 2 teasers that I did play. So I took San Fran tonight because it falls into that category of the 7.5. And Philly right now, there's some 7.5s popping up on the screen for Black Friday. So you can tease both of those down to 1, 1.5, and you're paying minimal juice with a 6-point teaser. Then I took San Fran and I teased them with Monday Night Football next week in New England, who are 7.5, and you tease them down to 1.5 each. Those are 2 teasers I've already bet, so I'm giving them to you, and they're not official WagerTalk plays, but they're plays that I've bet, Joe. So I figured might as well give you guys what I'm on, and if you want to follow, you can.
I'm definitely going to follow. I love that tease, especially with New England on next Monday night, bringing them down to that 1.5-point favorite. That's a great way to go, Carm. Do you think it's kind of disrespectful here, the lines to the Carolina Panthers? I've heard a couple of people throwing that out today, that they are such a big dog coming into this game.
They are, but I think rightfully so. San Fran's starting to get healthy. You got Brock Purdy back as well, too. And the players are getting healthy on this team. Which brings me to 2 ways of looking at this. The total 49.5, I think, is a little too high, but I'm planning on betting that game, betting the total in game, because if Carolina somehow scores first, they're going to try and slow this game down, because I think they have like something like the 30th rated pass offense. Not very good. They'll go to running the ball, try and run the ball, longer sustained drives. And we've talked about those. Sometimes those long drives that turn into field goals aren't great for the total. If San Fran scores first, then I'm going to look to live bet the over as opposed to the under, because I think if San Fran gets on top, it changes the game plan for Carolina as well, too. And 50, 51.5, or 50, 50.5, 51. I think are good bettable numbers, because I think 51 or 52 is still a key number that you can get to when betting the total. But what I am betting here is, Joe, for me, and then Andrew's going to come in with his props. It is George Kittle night. All of my props are on George Kittle, guys. Are you ready? Here we go. Are you ready, Joe?
Yeah, I'm so ready for this. Okay, let's hear it.
George Kittle receptions over 4.5.
Love it.
For him. Receiving yards over 58.5, George Kittle. Anytime touchdown plus 115 on George Kittle. And just a sprinkle, maybe a pizza slice, because I ordered a pizza that's being delivered in about 20 minutes. First TD of the game, George Kittle plus 750. he's been the main target or one of the main targets the last 2 weeks. You look at it against the LA Rams, a game in which they lost by like 14 points, I think it was. 9 targets, 9 receptions, 84 yards, 1 TD. Last week against Arizona, 6 targets, 6 receptions, 67 yards, 2 TDs. He's played 6 games this year. He's had a TD in 4 of them, which is why the anytime TD, I think, offers value at plus 115. You're not paying VIG like you would with Christian McCaffrey, right? So CMC is always a minus 200 or so. So it's a Kittle night for me. Let's
I love a
hope
Kittle
Kittle
night.
brings home the Skittles for me.
Okay, I love that saying, Kittle bringing home the Skittles. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot in the chat here. People are loving what you're saying with Kittle. They're liking his receiving yards, his touchdowns. We do have the Outcast kid throwing out CMC and Kittle for the touchdown parlay. I know CMC is juicy, but would you throw it in a parlay? He should get his versus his former team. Like Carm, people have to remember this. He was drafted by Carolina back in 2017, 8th round, first round, 8th pick, right? And then he got traded away. Revenge game for him here?
Yeah, I think we're so far removed from it. I think they just want to win. They want to win games. San Fran's got such a, I think, an easy run out to their schedule. They had one of the easiest schedules coming in to the season. It was supposed to be the easiest, and somehow now New England has adopted the easiest schedule. But New England's getting it done.
Yeah.
You can only beat the teams that they put in front of you, and this is one that they're putting in front of San Fran, and that they need. Obviously, they need to win. You need to win your home games. With a total of 49.5 and the spread the way it is, you always assume there's going to be TDs from, or at least 4 of them coming from the San Fran point of view. And you figure if there's 4 TDs, CMC's got to be in there somewhere. So adding him along with George Kittle, I'd have no problem with that. As an additional play, I wouldn't change my anytime TD to a 2-player TD one. Just because I'm already getting plus money on it, and then I don't want to have to sweat a second player.
Well, exactly. I love that you're going with the first touchdown scorer too for George Kittle. Going big on him in this one. Someone wants to know what a Toronto style pizza is like, Carm.
So here's the thing. You don't come to Toronto for the pizzas. You definitely don't come to watch the hockey team because they stink. But with that said, there's probably one very good pizza place here, and it was reviewed by Dave Portnoy when he was here for the Boston Red Sox Toronto Blue Jays series during the year, and it's called Batty Alley's. And their pizza, there's a lineup around the corner. It is unbelievable how long it takes. People will line up for 45 minutes to get a slice of pizza or a full pie. Very good pizza. I've been there. I enjoy it. That is probably the only place I would recommend anyone coming to Toronto. It's a lot of chain restaurants here, and they never turn out well.
Okay, yeah, chain restaurant pizzas are never the best. Brandon 11 is saying Rico Dowdle for 2+ touchdowns. We know the Panthers, they've got to run the ball, right? They always turn to Rico to be able to get things done on the ground. Unless they're down by 3 scores, I think Rico's going to get a lot of work. But would you look at him in this one, Carm? I know not official. You're all over George Kittle, but bad bet there to look at Rico Dowdle?
I don't think it's a bad bet. I wouldn't take him to get more than 1 TD. If it depends on what the price is. I think what happens invariably is a lot of people, when they're looking at like the anytime TD props, and they see something like you'll see something like CMC or another player or Rico, and you see minus 160, and they're like, I don't want to lay 160, and then they see, but 2 touchdowns is plus 240. Let me grab that instead. And then the guy ends up with 1 TD, and you went from having a winning ticket to having a losing ticket. That's how parlays are lost. You guys in the chat, everyone, my friends, everyone has been there where they're like a 6 or 17 teaser, and then they add a minus 900 at the end just to get a little more value on their ticket. And that's the only play that ends up losing, the minus 900. And they're like, why did I add this one? So this is the pox that comes with taking, or the curse that comes with taking multiple leg parlays.
We all get a little greedy sometimes, right? Reach for that extra slice of pizza, put it in there, Carm. But looking at Rico Dowdle, last game he had a 79 rushing yards on 17 carries versus the Jets. He had a bad one versus the Buffalo Bills, only 54 on 8 carries, but he did go off versus the Packers for that 130. Yeah, 130 yards on 25 carries. His prop tonight, you guys, it's interesting, 75 and a half. If this is just a complete run game for him, could he get there, Carm, against this defense of the 49ers?
It's just what you're banking on is them getting to the lead early and then maybe reverting to a running game. If they fall behind San Fran, if they fall behind by, let's say, multiple scores, then then obviously they vacate the running game and they go to a passing game. You look at his numbers over the last little while, as you mentioned, rushing yards, 45, 53, 130 against Green Bay, 54. We're talking about rushing yards here, obviously 54, 79, 183, 206. There's some huge numbers there, but there are also some very small numbers, 32, 39, 12. So you might want to look at the combo ones where you can mix in rushing and receiving together. I know DK does offer those, and if they have to switch from a run game to a pass game, he's still going to be in there for protection, and you might get him coming out of the backfield and picking up some yards. So something to think about and look at.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look at. Now, you guys, Andrew McInnis is going to be stepping up in the next couple of minutes. But, Carm, I want to mention the fact the Washington Capitals are up right now, 1-0 over the Columbus Blue Jackets in that first period. The rest of the game's scoreless, and we know how much NHL you're doing as well as football. Got some great specials going on, right?
Yeah, so this is a deal that Melissa reactivated, and it is an NFL/NHL combo. You're going to get every single NFL play right through the Super Bowl, and you're going to get every single NHL play right through to the Stanley Cup Finals. And then, and this expires on November 30th, as an added bonus, we have added in the World Cup next summer when only baseball is on. And if you don't like baseball, there's going to be World Cup soccer, and it is in the States next year. Canada, US, and Mexico sharing the World Cup on regular TV. You guys are going to see it on pretty much every channel that offers it, and you'll get every single play. So that's June 11th to July the 19th. So that's another 40 days of plays as well too, as an added bonus. That's like $299. You're getting it for free. So if you head over to my page, you can pick that up at wt.buzz/CB.
So until November 30th, you're getting that for $569, Carm.
Yep.
Afterwards, it's going to go up to $928.
Yep. After that,
Okay.
I think NHL and NFL will be gone. So it'll just be the World Cup package up itself for $299.
Okay. Well, you guys make sure you head on over to wagertalk.com to grab that. Carm, thanks for joining us here to break down this game. I know you got pizza arriving on your
Yes.
doorstep any minute. Crush the books tonight.
Thanks, you as well. Thanks, everyone in chat. Good luck.
Thanks, Carm. You guys, that was Carmine Bianco. If you're looking for his best bets, like he was saying, head on over, grab that special. You don't want to miss out on that. You're going to get his NHL, NFL till November 30th for that one low price of $569 through the rest of the season. And then he's going to throw in those World Cup plays as well. After November 30th, that package is gone. So make sure you head on over. But we're going to bring in Andrew McInnis here to talk. He's got some props in this one. You guys make sure you, in the live chat, drop those questions, drop those comments for Andrew, but let's bring him in.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. Looking forward to the 5% play tonight. I've been doing really well with my NFL player props, keeping it low volume, so it's been good. The only thing I'm frustrated about, which, hey, if it's the worst thing in my day, it's not that bad. Carmine took my free play. I've got a bunch more to give out, but he's all over George Kittle. I like it as well. I think it's so interesting. The Panthers 13th ranked as far as their passing yards allowed, but 25th ranked against the tight end position. So you always love when there's that big of a difference between the overall passing yards allowed and then the passing yards allowed to a tight end. So I'm right there on George Kittle too. We'll find out in a couple hours if that's a good thing or a bad thing that we're on the same page here.
I think it's a great thing you guys are on the same page because I'm on it too, Andrew. That
Love
makes me
it.
a little nervous. But no, George
Three of
Kittle
us.
should come out and have a great one, right? He's able to get those. He's a solid target out there. And we saw in the last game, Brock Purdy fed him the ball left, right, and center. 2 touchdowns on the board. So let's all keep our fingers crossed for George Kittle. But I just want to know, how did Sunday do for you? Like, what was your biggest game out there? Like, how did they do for you?
Unfortunately, it was actually my first tough day as well, but it was just 2 props. I'm mostly a prop better when it comes to NFL these days. 0-2. I think I got a little bit too fancy. I tried to take too many secondary guys, and a lot of the games that I ended up betting, it was the big name guys that ended up having the good day. So that was a bit tough. But I'm going to steal a term from Carmine here. He always says about the landmines, and I feel like I avoided a lot of landmines as well yesterday. There were. I mean, you know how people are tweeting out their chalky parlays. I mean, so many people probably were sweating with some of these big favorites yesterday. So it was a good underdog day, but I actually was pretty low volume and have this one play I really like tonight. So it's been working out really well. Kind of these Monday nights, Thursday night, the primetime games. And Joe, I don't know what it is. I feel like it's probably a better thing maybe, but I've been better on the primetime games than I have on the 1 p.m. slates on Sundays. I don't know if it's because I can just laser focus on one game or whatever it might be, but doing a lot better when it's just one standalone game.
There was some really odd 1 p.m. Eastern games yesterday, though. Like, you're looking, I was sweating out the Ravens as my second chance survivor pick. I thought the Jets were going to pull that off. Like, there was some games
Yeah.
out there that you're just going, what the heck? Nothing is easy in the NFL, that's for
And
sure.
lots of overtime as well. I was shocked
Yeah.
how much overtime took place yesterday.
I know. It was great for a football watching stance from a betting and sweating
Yeah.
out games. That was not pretty, that's for sure. So, but let's jump into tonight. Let's hear what your first prop is that you're liking.
You know, I said earlier with Andy Lang on props and parlays that I like Bryce Young to have himself a good night tonight. And I had to look on record. That might be the first night in my whole life I've ever said that I think Bryce Young is going to have a good night. But I think this is one of those things where it's more like a matchup base. So, I'm not looking at exactly, what he's done in the last couple of games by any means, because if I was, obviously we'd be looking at some pretty low numbers. This is really just an opportunity to fade a San Fran secondary that's just not been that good, ranking 26 in passing yards allowed per game. And looking at the point spread, getting up to 7.5 and climbing, there's a lot of expectation out there for this to be a one-sided football game. Going into the second half, this is going to be a pass or nothing spot here for this Panthers team. If that's the case, there's going to be all kinds of opportunities. I wouldn't talk anybody off the completions prop for Bryce Young either. He's been getting more completions, been throwing the ball a lot more. And I think that you look at some of these guys that have been going up against the Niners that have been giving up, that they've been giving up so many yards to. This number opened up at 203, 204. It climbed all the way close to like 208, 209. So I'd be careful and shop around for the best number you possibly can. But I do think that that we're going to see Bryce Young get it done. And obviously you saw that George Kittle one was on my mind because somebody was commenting about it. I think George Kittle's one as well.
It's unbelievable to see what Bryce Young did last week versus the Atlanta Falcons, right? Like, he threw
448.
448. Like, I never would have thought Bryce Young would throw for that many yards in his career. That was on 31 completions. He had a phenomenal time throwing deep. Would you look at any of his props or talk anyone off any of his longest pass props in this one? Because I tell you, that's something the 49ers have that weakness against, is those big, long, deep plays. I love where you're going with the full passing yards, but maybe the longest as well.
Yeah, at first I was a bit hesitant to look at that one, but then the more I looked at the point spread, the more I looked at kind of the expectation for this game, he's going to have to make something happen. There's going to have to be a big play or two, because the fact is game script wise, when you're down so many points, you can't come back in a game if you're taking, 5, 6, 7 minutes to march a field, right? So you can't have, but I'll tell you, as far as the attempts versus completions, I would still probably look towards the completions, because I do think at least out the gate, it's going to be a very simplified offense, which is a guy like Xavier Legette. I think he's going to be heavily involved in the offense. His number is super low. And again, with how poor this secondary has been against the pass, I feel like somebody like him could be targeted for those simplified and easier passes, kind of, to the side, or just kind of the short passes over the top. I feel like those are the guys that you want to look towards. If you are looking towards longest completion for Bryce Young, you'd probably want to look towards longest receptions for Ted McMillan, because he could be someone that probably will be on the other end of that pass.
Okay, I like where you're going. So Leggett has a reception prop, you guys, of 2.5 to the over at -108. And then his receiving prop, it's low. It's only 23.5. But if you're looking at McMillan, that's coming in at 65.5 for his receiving yards, his longest. Any guesses, Andrew, what McMillan's coming in for his longest? It seems light.
I'm going to say half of what his receiving yards is.
It's only 23.5, -118 to the over. Seems like a nice way to bet him.
That's pretty good. That's intriguing, because he's going to be there. He's going to be open, get one or two shots. I mean, he's coming off an 83-yard performance here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've locked in at least 30 yards. So 30 plus yards here. FanDuel has plus 134. Caesar's only plus 115. So make sure you shop around. But 30 plus, I think, is the way to go in that one. And a lot of good touchdown scorers out there. I think he's someone that we have to look at. If you're betting touchdown scores, I think he's someone that's definitely worth a sprinkle for sure.
Yeah, he definitely is. So we've seen McMillan go over the 23.5 in the last 2 games versus New Orleans Saints. He had one for 26, and versus the Atlanta Falcons, one for 39. But limited, held under in those other games. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes. I like looking at him for the touchdown prop. I do think it's a great way to go. So you're going to roll with Bryce Young for his passing yards to the over. You prefer his completions over the attempts. And then you've got George Kittle. Do you have anything else for us?
Well, everyone's looking about, we got a question here from Mary talking about any defensive props. How about this one? How about just San Fran plus 500 anytime touchdown? I mean, San Fran defense, anytime touchdowns. I mean, if I expect Bryce Young to be throwing the ball a ton, if we expect him to be down, who's to say a pick six doesn't happen? Who's to say we don't see a fumble happen when a play becomes predictable? 5-1. That's a pretty good one. I think that's definitely worth making. As far as the numbers there, if I'm someone that thinks Bryce Young's going to have a good day through the air, if I like the completions, if I think there's value on Bryce Young, the number's just too low for his passing. I think you have to look towards the rushing yards. I think Rico Dowdle under on rushing attempts is worth looking at. I don't think the opportunities are there, and I think a lot of it's due to the second half, chasing the game, having to pass the ball, and not really having room for the running to be a part of the equation.
Well, that's the thing. If the 49ers get up by 3 scores, they have no other way to play that game than for Bryce Young to air it out. And coming off that big game, maybe he'll air it out and take those mistakes. So I love where you're going with the 49 defensive touchdown. I love playing those defensive touchdowns. So I'm so glad that you came at us with that. If you're looking at Bryce Young for the interception, it's -114. So if you're playing the defensive touchdown, you got to look at that interception. Not that much juice on the interception there. So I think it's a
Rico Dowdle attempts 18.5 to the under. I think I would actually take that over the yards, because I just think that with the yards, you can break off for a big one, but with the attempts, doesn't matter how much you're getting. It's just about one at a time with the attempts. So I would look towards the under on Dowdle attempts, 18.5.
Okay. I like where you're going. How many pick sixes this year? Someone's asking. I'm not sure. There's always, it seems like every weekend there's at least one pick six, right? So you just have to look at it. You have to look at a quarterback that you think is going to be trailing, in my opinion, at least, Andrew. When I look at it, it's the quarterback that's trailing. A defense is so solid at putting that pressure and forcing a quarterback into those mistakes.
He's got an INT in 2 of his last 3 games.
Yeah.
So we'll see what can happen here. But again, you want the most volume you can, and I think that with this opportunity, with going up against the defense that ranks 26 in the league as far as their passing defense, the more throws, the better, Joe. The more throws, the more chance for a pick six.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you see Watt get the defensive touchdown yesterday? I wasn't sure if it went through the air or if that was like kind of a fumble. I was watching Red Zone and things were going so quick. I was on the end zone show, so didn't know how that exactly played out, but we got the defensive touchdown there. It was amazing. Andrew, I hope you crushed the books tonight. What have you got up for sale for us?
So look, we got a 5% play going in about 20 minutes now. Monday Night Football. We cashed a 5% play on Thursday. 70% NFL player prop run. Number one in props at WagerTalk this year for NFL. So super excited about it. But I got a great deal up right now. And I've been trying to stress this to people pretty much all throughout the day. There's no point in buying that 5% play because for $69, you're going to get 30 days of NFL player props and NHL. 5% play is $35. $69 for 30 days of all of my player props across not just NFL, but across the NFL. So if you're watching this show, if you're interested in my favorite play tonight, you can grab that one play. But if you want all my plays for 30 days, you're going to just pretty much for double the cost of 5% play. You're going to get all kinds of other plays. And I'm sure there will be more 5% plays down the line, Joe. So I'm really looking forward to this one. NHL player props, I release pretty much all half unit, 0.5% or 0.25% just because of the volume. And obviously there's more games every single day in NHL, but with NFL being a, once a week type of thing, I'm kind of stepping out with 2, 3, 4, 5% plays. So there's a lot of value here with this $69 deal. And like I said, it's a 70% run, 14-3, 23-8, hard to really argue. So if you guys want to join me, wt.buzz/am, that's the spot to go.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to join you. You're absolutely dominating the books out there, Andrew. So all the best in all of those bets. Please tell me that the Washington Capitals are going to hold on for the next 5 minutes and take the first period because they're up 1-0 still over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Did you take them tonight?
I didn't, but I think it's going to be a go. I actually leaned the under on the show today. I thought both teams were coming off some tough defensive performances, so maybe the defense was going to be the focus. I'll tell you, I didn't sell this play, so for anybody out there, and it's kind of contrarian a little bit here, I like the over in the LA and Ottawa game, and I sprinkled on LA team total over. Ottawa's looked great lately, especially the first 2 games of their road trip, 2 defensive games. They only allowed 4 goals in their first 2 games of their road trip. I think tonight's going to be more of a higher scoring game. Ottawa could still win this one, but I feel like this one's going to have some goals.
Yeah, and we've seen the Kings pushed into those higher pace games, right? Where the Sharks pushed them into 2 really high scoring games. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Sens do in this one. Andrew, where can people catch you? Like, I know you've got so many shows going on. Where can they find you this week?
Yeah, doing an overnight show. Not live every night anymore, but it's pre-recorded. Some nights going to be live. The pre-scout. We got puck time, of course, 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. But it's kind of weird. So it's a weird feeling. I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow at 11 a.m., but we've got no shows, no hockey shows on Tuesday, no hockey show on Thursday. I'm a man of routine, so it's a bit weird. But you guys can catch me, of course, every single day, wagertalk.com. And follow me on TikTok, at McInnis Picks. I'm posting more. I'm going live. And I think tomorrow at the same time I'd usually go live on Puck Time, I'm going to go live on TikTok around 11 a.m. Eastern at McInnis Picks and give out some player props and some thoughts for tomorrow's game. Just one game tomorrow. Kind of feel bad for those guys. Just one game.
Yeah, it's really weird. The Stars and the Oilers. But don't worry, Wednesday is completely jam-packed. They couldn't split it up between 2 days. It would have been nice. But Andrew, thank you so much for being here. I think we've froze a little bit here. So wish you all the best in all of your bets. But you guys, thank you, Andrew. I appreciate your time.
Thanks so much, Joe. Good luck.
Thank you. You guys, that was Andrew McInnis. Like he was saying, head on over to wagertalk.com to grab his best plays over there. You don't want to miss out. That 30-day package for just $69 when 15% play is costing you normally half of that. You don't want to miss out. 30 days, such a great deal over there. Seeing all of your comments coming in. I appreciate you guys so much for being here on Last Call. Now, the guys went over their plays. I've got a couple to give out to you. I'm with them 100% on George Kittle. I did fire up George Kittle for his receptions. I took the over 4.5 receptions, but I took him for 6+ receptions as well, 7+ receptions. I do think he has every ability to have that huge night tonight. So if you guys like laddering props, I got there with George Kittle. I didn't ladder his touchdowns, so I do think he gets in the end zone. I also laddered CMC tonight for his rushing and receiving. I do love that revenge angle. Looking at him, it's hard to believe he hasn't faced the Carolina Panthers as of yet, the team that drafted him. And now 3 years and a couple weeks later, He's finally facing that team. And I think a little bit of pride will be on the line for him tonight in this one. So we know he's been so solid at getting those receptions as well as getting the yards on the ground. So it's actually kind of shocking how well he's done this year, right? Like if you had him on fantasy last year, like I did, and then traded him away and didn't take him this year, hands up if you're kicking yourself, because that is completely me. So I think CMC, though, is in for a big night. I would look at his receiving over the rushing, but I do like the rushing and receiving over 119.5. I did fire that up to over 150.5 for a little bit of a sprinkle, you guys. I love looking at those storylines, but I do think Kittle's going to get his work, so be careful with laddering CMC. Another one that I would look at is Brian Robinson Jr. for his touchdown. Now, I love the value on it. I'm always looking for those longer shots. So he is the second string running back behind CMC. I do think, especially if the 49ers get up big in this game, we could see Brian Robinson come out and be able to get in the end zone. We look at him last week and he was targeted, he ran 8 times in last week's game. So I'm thinking he gets some work. And if he gets some work, he gets in the end zone there. It would be great to see. But that's where I'm going, you guys. I see your comments about the Raptors in the live chat here. Brock Purdy runs for the 49ers offense better than Mac Jones. Yeah, I agree. Brock Purdy does run really nicely with his legs out there. We saw him come back, and it's great to see him. I liked Mac Jones, though. I think Mac Jones did a good job for them. And I think, if Brock Purdy gets hurt again, I'm comfortable with Mac Jones stepping in. But you guys are jumping in on the Panthers to cover. It's a hard one, you guys. I went back and forth with this one with the side here. I ended up laying it with the 49ers. I had to get there because I was looking at everything. I do think Rico Dowdle could have a solid day because I think the Panthers, even down 2 scores, they lean so much on that run game. They get nervous for Bryce Young to be throwing that ball deep and to turn that ball over. They had so much faith in him in that last game. He came out so strong. We'll see what they do, but I kind of went like, I know they're going to try to keep Brock Purdy and the 49ers off the field. They're going to try to run the clock, keep it tight. But I think at the end of the day, the 49ers squeak it out. I think this is going to be a great game for live betting as well. I want to see the Panthers go in there, get the first points on the board, and then us to be able to come back in on the 49ers laying 3.5. That is the ultimate situation for me in this game because I do think that they win it. I do think they cover the 7. It just makes me a little nervous. So it's going to be an interesting one, but you guys, happy Monday. Enjoy tonight's Monday Night Football game. It's crazy. We're going in to week 13 after tonight's game. With the Thanksgiving games, we will be live for your primetime preview last call here at 9 a.m. my time, so 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday before these games kick off. So make sure you join us Thursday morning. It's going to be a lot of fun. Andrew McInnis, the Prez, are going to be here. We're going to go over all of the games for Thursday as well as Friday. But I appreciate you guys. Let's make some freaking money tonight. Until Thursday, stay hot, you guys. Crush the books.